I've noticed recently the calluses that I used to have on my hand are now forming again. My calluses had originally formed from working out in the gym and lifting heavy weights. They naturally went away because lifestyle change, stopped going to the gym as much, found other ways to be active. However, there was part of me that did miss them. Just because to me it's almost a visual representation of the work that I'm putting in. Excuse me. It's a visual representation of the work that's being put in. And over these past few months, they started forming again. And this time, not from going to the gym, but just my regular day-to-day job. And ironically enough, I am now working definitely a lot more than I used to. And now, as a result, these calluses are forming on my hands, as well as other, cuts and scars and marks. Yes, I have these calluses physically, but I think more importantly, these calluses are just a representation of what I'm trying to build in here, and almost an emotional callus, so to speak. And what I mean by emotional callus would essentially be emotional stability. When I think of a callus, I can pick at it, I can tear it, I can put fires out with it. It's probably, if not the toughest, one of the toughest pieces of parts of skin on my body. And when I have that emotional stability, that emotional callus, when I'm working on it, it helps me go out and conquer the day. First thing when I wake up, I think it's best to, try and keep your mind clear for a little bit. Not let all these outside noise of life, start to come into your head. I gotta go to work today, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta prepare for that, gotta remember that, gotta think about that. And just your attention gets divided so, very easily. I have found that one, keeping my head clear, allows me to find what essentially is like my baseline. Get familiar with that. And just naturally, of course, because we have to go throughout life, but then the noise of life will start to come in. Okay, I gotta do this today, I gotta think about this, gotta do that. But now that callus is there, and I took the time to be present, clear my thoughts and clear my head, it's easier now. to not, it's easier to not let any emotion throw me off. So now the feeling of laziness, or of, the comfort of, staying home, it's there still, yeah, but it doesn't have the same control over me. And I think that's the important thing to keep in mind, like that emotional stability, having the emotional callus, it's not there to take away any of the things that we're dealing with or facing with. Instead, it's there to give us the strength to deal with it properly and to tackle it head on. Now, just like with, a physical callus, it doesn't happen by accident. For me, I was not able to become more emotionally stable until I put constant, determined effort into it. If I go to the gym once a week and go 20%, calluses may form, but I doubt it. It was from going to the gym consistently and giving my all, ripping through the layers of skin if need be, just to push. That's how those calluses were formed. And so, for me, at least emotionally, it's one, reading about it, but two, it's actually applying it. I find myself in certain situations where it's, yes, easier to give advice than to actually follow. And it's easy to use what you know when it's convenient. But I think the real work comes in as times where it's hard and you really don't want to do what you really don't want to do what you should be doing. And it's those times where it's in those times that you're able to push through that. That's what's making you tougher. That's what's building that callus. It's, in that heated argument, right? Or it's in when you have temptation, or just any of these strong emotions are in play. And it feels good to ride that high. That's when it's like, that's where the real effort needs to go. When you're so just fueled, consumed by whatever, that you're not even thinking straight. Can you take a moment, not just ignore, but truly be able to let go of whatever emotion that may be possessing you. I like to use the example with, like, let's just say siblings. Very easy to get into arguments, very easy to want to be right. And it's one thing to just, let go of a conversation or stop an argument just for the sake of being done with it. And that's still improvement than, continuing on with it. But I think what's what's more important, and I think helps in other areas of life, is when you can find it in yourself to no longer be mad or upset, and and no longer not suppress the emotion, but actually be able to let it go. And that's where I think that emotional callus gets formed from. Anytime that I find myself, fueled by an emotion or desire, especially in a way that I do not want to partake in. It could be anything: sleeping in, overeating, indulging, whatever. It's not trying to suppress that feeling or that emotion that may be coming up, but becoming aware of it, no longer labeling it as something negative or something that I should be ashamed of. And then understand why it's there, and it's almost after understanding why it's there, am I then able to let go of it. And it's no longer this fight of trying to fight with myself. It's like, instead of trying to stop it from coming, I'm just letting it pass through me. And that's been one of the biggest improvements I've seen with myself over the past couple years. And I would say that's only come from constant, deliberate effort in trying to understand myself, and then as a result of that, understanding just the why I do things the way that I do them, and understanding my emotions. And I'm looking to continue to improve that, and continue to actively work on that. Understand that I'm not perfect, and that there is still room for improvement. But to undermine what the journey and the work has brought me to so far, to undermine that and to not think of that, does me no good. I would, celebrate the success, but realize that there's still work to do. And I think that for men and almost anybody, for me, paying attention to that and working on that, that's how I saw actual improvement in my life, and consistent, sustained levels of positive emotion, and really finding the love for life again. It was again by developing that emotional callus.